Hi again. In this video, we're going to continue talking about your results for the Structure of Intellect test. In a previous video, I talked to you about how all of the information that's around you in the world, you either see with your eyes or you hear with your ears. Now, obviously, there could be other kinds of things that you get from the senses in your body, but we're talking primarily about information that comes through your eyes or through your ears. So obviously, the ability to see information with your eyes is so important. I can't overemphasize how important that is, because if you need to read or notice typos or mistakes in things that you write, or recognize and remember phrases if you're learning another languages, these are all extremely important and they're connected to vision. So there's two terms that I want to talk to you about, because in this video, we're talking about how your eyes work and what the indications on the test are that there could be some issues to check out. So I want to start by defining two terms. They're a little bit different from each other, so it's important to be clear on that. So one term that we use is 20/20 sight. The other term that we're talking about today is vision. These are not the same thing. So 20/20 sight is basically what normal eye doctors test when you go to their office and you get a regular kind of eye exam. So basically, when they check 20/20 sight, they're checking the clarity and sharpness of things that you see when they're 20 feet away from you. On the other hand, vision is actually pretty different. When I say vision, I mean a learned intellectual response. It's basically how your eyes work together. So, in other words, in order for your brain to understand the information that it sees, it's got to have the right information. And so that's about how your eyes are working together, how they move together. That's what we're talking about when I say vision. So if you've ever been to a regular optometrist, you've probably had a test that checked 20/20 sight. It's really common, especially in America. This is like the standard thing that they do if you don't ask for anything different. So there are, however, a lot of other tests that can be done to check things about how your eyes work together. And those are vision tests. And I'm going to list some of those in the description below this video so that you can get familiar with some of those terms. I had never heard of them before. They will probably be new to you as well. But when you improve your vision, it's possible for you to learn more easily, do better when you're at work or at school, and even perform better when you're playing certain sports, because obviously like your eyes have to track a ball or your opponents or some kind of thing like that. So vision is really connected to all areas of our life. So improving vision has a big impact on a lot of things that you do. Now, some of the tests that we took on the Structure of Intellect test actually give us clues and indications about whether or not there could be some issues with your eyes. Now, a lot of people tell me, Jamie, I don't have any problems with, my eyes, but usually what they're thinking about is 20/20 sight. And that's where something is blurry or it's clear and sharp. And what people don't always know about is that there are all of these other ways that our eyes work together. Sometimes we don't even notice these things. We don't feel them. So just please keep watching this video, because I'm going to give you some more examples of things that might change the way you're thinking about some of this. So basically, I mean, when we look at your vision, this impacts how fast you read. So if you're reading slow, it could be partly because of vision issues. Another thing it impacts is your spelling and your awareness of spelling. So again, if you find that you make a lot of spelling mistakes, or you flip letters around inside the words, or you trade letters with something else, like maybe you look at a word and you think it's a P, but actually it's flipped and it's a Q or something like that, or a P and a B. Sometimes people think that this is dyslexia, but actually it doesn't necessarily mean that it's dyslexia. It can actually be a vision issue. So it's really important to distinguish that. Another thing that vision impacts is how easily you learn. Sometimes people can just kind of magically absorb information just because they're in a learning environment, and other people have to put like crazy huge amounts of effort and focus on studying. Surprisingly, this can actually be impacted by vision. And you may have 20/20 sight, and you could have vision problems that you don't know about. So let's just see if this is something that we may want to explore a little bit more for you. So there's 8 results that we're going to look at. So what I want you to do is get page 1 of your Structure of Intellect test. That's the one that's got the breakdown of all of the individual scores. So we should see a lot of stuff here, not the back, not that one, the front page, page 1. And also, please get a highlighter because I'm going to ask you to mark some of the test results that we've got for you. And you may also want to get a black pen so that you can write some stuff. I'm just going to show you what I did, and I would suggest that you copy it onto the paper so that you've got the same analysis that I do. So up here at the top, I want to suggest that you create a little box, little checkbox that you color in with your highlighter color. And then just next to that, write vision indicators. Now, if you see something that's a low or an average score, that could be problematic. Those are what we're checking for, low to average scores. After you write that, I want you to mark the CFU thing. Now, obviously, this is a different person's thing. Yours is going to look different. Your score may be similar or very different from that, but draw a yellow line all the way across on that. Come down here for EFU. Also draw a line all the way across for EFU. Come down here, look for CFT. Draw a line for CFT. Also, NFU, MSUV, MSSV, NST, and the final one down at the bottom, DMU, down there. So you should have 8 lines of highlighted color: CFU, EFU, CFT, NFU, MSUV, MSSV, NST, DMU. Make sure you've got those. Now, there are 3 particularly that are more important to pay attention to, especially if you're in like a university environment or taking a test in another language. So CFU was the activity where you looked at a picture or an image and part of it had been erased. And you had to look at that partially erased image and try to remember, like, if we draw in all the extra lines, what is that image? What's the final product? So if your CFU score is low, that's an indication that you may struggle to see what you're actually seeing, what's actually in front of you. So when you're reading, you may not be getting all of the information if your CFU score is low. The EFU score is also really important. EFU is close to the top up here, right there, EFU. Now, EFU is the activity where you looked at a picture and then you had 5 options of pictures that were similar, but one of those pictures was exactly the same, and you had to guess the matching one that was like exactly the same picture. Now, if your EFU score is low, this means that you might be making a lot of spelling mistakes, and alternatively, you might misunderstand or misread the words that you see. So like if you're just looking very quickly and if you're not focusing very much, you may really misunderstand the information that's in front of you. EFU is connected to that. Now the third score that's really important is your NST score. That's the one down here, NST. Now NST was the activity where we showed you a bunch of words and we took all of the spaces out from between the words. So the words got crushed together, and you needed to kind of like separate them by drawing vertical lines between the words. Now also, some of the words were flipped upside down and some of them were backwards, so that it was really testing how well your eyes are tracking. Now, if your NST score is low, that means that you probably read slowly. Like as your eyes are moving over the words, you may experience slowly reading. And if you're in a timed test, any kind of timed situation where you have to read, which is like every test basically in the face of the world in a normal traditional kind of school, it's a very common activity. In that kind of time test, I'm guessing you are probably very unhappy and you probably feel really stressed and rushed. So part of that can be connected to the NST score. And again, what it's really connected to is how your vision works and how your eyes are working together or possibly not working together. So it's really important to know that this is an option.